tonight we will be talking about the foundational attitude, acceptance. And so I've been spending this week exploring this concept of acceptance in relation to mindfulness. And so I'd like to begin by letting you know how acceptance is in relation to mindfulness. So, acceptance is seeing things as they actually are in the present moment instead of denying or resisting what is already here. So, mindfulness doesn't just involve paying attention to what is happening in the present moment, but it also involves a certain quality of attention, including accepting what is happening in the moment without judgment. No, not labeling the situation as good or bad or even neutral. So, acceptance means that even though we may not like what is happening, we acknowledge that it is happening. And acceptance can certainly be challenging to do depending on the situation or the moment that we are faced with. I know on a personal level, sometimes acceptance can be hard for me. It's not always easy to do. And rather than accepting things as they actually are in the moment, we are often resistant, right? And resistance is any way in which we do not embrace the present moment. It refers to the struggle that occurs when we believe our moment to moment experience should be any other than it already is. And so resistance can cause unnecessary suffering in our life. It makes sense that we resist difficult emotions, challenging situations, things that we don't like, rather than accepting them, because there's just certain things in life that we just don't want to experience and we don't want to feel. However, the mistake that we often make is by thinking that resistance is the best way to get rid of this challenging situation, this thing we don't like, the pain that we're experiencing. And part of the reason might be that sometimes resistance feels successful in the short term, right? We may be resisting rather than accepting in order to protect ourselves. And there are many forms of resistance. It can show up in many different ways. We may get lost in worry or thought. Maybe we get distracted. Maybe we're feeling angry or irritated or physically tense or are numbing ourselves, right? There's many different ways in which we experience resistance when we don't accept what is occurring in the present moment experience. When it comes to mental thoughts and resistance, maybe it's, I wish I didn't have this headache, or I wish my mind wouldn't be wandering while I meditate. I can't believe I'm in this much traffic. I'm going to be late, and this is just an awful situation. And maybe we feel resistance in the physical body and sensations, right? Maybe we notice tension in the shoulders, a furrowing of the brow, a clenching of the jaw. Right? There's many different ways in which we can feel this resistance physically. And then maybe we notice resistance in terms of emotions, right? So maybe we're feeling frustrated or angry that things are the way that they are. And there's this equation that I'd like to share with you. It's pain times resistance equals suffering. And so resistance, if we let it, can contribute to our suffering. Rather than accepting and being with the situation for what it is, we often wish it were different or we're not here at all. And often when we experience an event that we don't like, rather than accepting that it's here in the moment and then moving forward intentionally from this place, we perceive the situation to be a certain way. And then we can become wrapped up in a story, right? And with this story now, maybe we begin to experience thoughts and judgments, beliefs about what we're experiencing. I shouldn't be tired. I'm sick of my body aching, whatever it might be. And so I'd like to mention that throughout our lives, we will experience situations we don't like, challenges, difficulty, moments of stress. Unfortunately, that's an inevitable part of life. But we do have a choice as to whether or not we contribute to this suffering, right? Whether we add fuel to the fire in the stressful situation or the difficult experience, whatever it may be. So the truth is that by resisting pain or the negative emotion rather than accepting it, um, we can actually make things worse than they actually are. In trying to rid ourselves of difficulty, we can at times create more difficulty for ourselves. There's this expression that I'd like to share with you: what we resist persists. And so, unfortunately, when we resist unpleasant experiences, they just don't go away. On the contrary, when we fight these feelings, we just add fuel to the fire most of the time. I do want to make clear is that acceptance is not approval, and acceptance is not passive resignation or inaction. Acceptance is really about acknowledging what is here in this moment. It's about allowing things to be as they are. And from this space, we can thoughtfully and intentionally move forward. So rather than resisting what is occurring in our moment-to-moment experience, perhaps try inviting a sense of acceptance. Perhaps try allowing what is here to be here, and maybe even try befriending what's here, if that's a possibility. And so we can offer ourselves kindness and compassion in these moments of difficulty or challenge, or just areas of ourself or experience that we don't like. And so in our meditation practice, we practice acceptance all the time, right? We cultivate acceptance by taking each moment as it comes and just being with it fully, right? We choose to be with it fully, whatever it is, because it's already here. And we try, when we meditate, not to impose our ideas about what we should be feeling or thinking or seeing or experiencing, right? We try to remind ourselves to be receptive and open to whatever's here, to whatever is coming up for us. And if we keep our attention focused on the present, we can be sure of one thing, that whatever we are attending to in this moment will change. Right? Things change moment to moment. It can be the beauty of life. And it gives us an opportunity to really practice accepting whatever is here and whatever it is that will emerge in the next moment. And so tonight, as we move into our meditation practice, we'll be exploring acceptance. And so I invite you now to settle into your seat. And if it feels right, just closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Just beginning to tune into the body. Maybe noticing the feet making contact with the floor. Maybe sensing into the sits bones on the seat. Maybe feeling supported by the seat in some way. If it feels right, just finding a little extra length in the spine, reaching through the crown of the head. And as you continue to settle into this meditation posture, perhaps you become aware of the fact that the body is breathing all on its own. And just begin to gently rest the awareness on the breath in the body. Staying with the breath as best you can. Knowing that you have no other place to be but here, with the breath in the body. And continuing to ride the waves of the breath cycle. Inhaling and exhaling at your own rhythmic pace. Just staying with each breath as best you can. One breath in, one breath out. Another breath in and another breath out. Just staying with the breath, breath by breath, and moment by moment. Just accepting and allowing the breath to be as it is right now. And I'd like you to call to mind a time this week that was a little bit challenging or difficult in some way. Maybe something happened that you didn't quite like. Not choosing the most difficult or challenging thing on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe choosing something that's a 2 or a 3, right? Maybe making a small mistake at work or getting stuck in traffic. Just choosing something that happened this week and holding it in the mind's eye. And I invite you now to recall the details of this experience. Where were you? What happened? Just replaying this moment or experience or situation in your mind. And taking a few moments to do that now. And now I invite you to explore the emotions that are associated with this particular situation or event or moment in time. And just noticing the emotions that arise and labeling them as you notice them. Anger, frustration, aggravation, grief. Just recalling them and labeling them as they come to you. And now settling on the emotion that was felt the most prominently. So just choosing the emotion that was felt the most distinctly. settling on this one. And I invite you now to notice where this emotion can be felt in the body. So maybe noticing a tightness in the gut, clenching of the jaw, tension in the shoulders, furrowing of the brow. Just tuning into your own body and noticing where can this emotion be felt. And once you've found this emotion in the body, just bringing a circle of awareness around this particular physical sensation. And then zooming in just a little bit more closely. And noticing the physical sensations that are making themselves known to you. Maybe noticing numbness, coolness, tingling, heat, prickliness. What are the sensations that can be noticed? What does this particular physical sensation feel like? Taking a moment to explore this now. And then seeing now if there's a possibility to soften around the borders of this physical sensation. Seeing if there's a possibility to invite a softening. Can you soften into this physical sensation? Perhaps the softening is loosening the grip on the physical sensation in some way. Maybe not holding it so tightly. And I invite you now to place a hand on the area of the body where this physical sensation can be felt. Just offering yourself some comfort with your soothing touch. Maybe gently caressing this particular area of the body where the physical sensation is making itself known to you. And now just seeing if there's a possibility to allow this sensation to be how it is. So just seeing if there's an opportunity to accept this sensation for what it is in the moment. And just allow it to be as it is because it's already here. And now exploring this physical sensation, just observing or noticing, does it feel any different? Is it any different? Is it shifting or changing moment by moment? And now expanding the awareness to encompass the entirety of the body. Just noticing how the entire body is in this moment. How is my body in this moment? And then narrowing the focus of attention once again back onto the breath. So just coming back to the breath, staying with your own breathing body. How is the breath in this moment? Just following each breath all the way to the end. Staying with this life-sustaining force that is the breath. Staying with each inhalation. And staying with each exhalation. Maybe noticing the natural pauses in the breath cycle. And at any point in time, if the mind has wandered away, which it will at some point because we are human, just coming back to the breath once again, accepting that's where the mind has gone, and then intentionally choosing to come back. Using our practice as a way to cultivate acceptance in our daily lives, both on the cushion and off. And I'm going to read a poem by Mary Oliver called The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough in a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, The stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do. And in a moment, I will chime the bells, which will conclude our formal meditation practice. And as I do, just seeing if it's possible to listen to the bells fully, making it part of the meditation practice itself. And if the eyes have been closed, I invite you to open them. Maybe giving yourself a nice stretch if that feels right. And this week, I invite you to try to practice acceptance. So if you're experiencing something that's challenging or tough or stressful or something that you just don't like, try inviting acceptance, allowing the moment to be how it is, and then choosing to intentionally and thoughtfully move forward. Maybe try even the soften, soothe, allow practice, right? Soften, notice where it can be felt in the body, find the emotion in the body, invite a sense of softening there. Maybe place the palm of the hand on this area. Offer yourself some soothing, and then seeing if it's possible to just allow it to be, if it can't be changed.